No man is a hero, at least not in Martin Scorsese's world. Nominated for 8 Academy Awards and hailed by many as the best film of the 1980s, Scorsese's meditation on how violence and personal failure are intertwined is in many ways the perfect encapsulation of the classic Scorsese protagonist. Ironic, considering the director initially felt little connection to the material and largely made it at the urging of Robert De Niro. Raging Bull tells the story of real-life boxer Jake LaMotta, a rough, Bronx-bred fighter who rose to world middleweight champion in 1949 and sustained a 6-fight rivalry with fellow Hall of Fame boxer Sugar Ray Robinson. But despite all the focus on boxing matches, despite the directorial bravado on display, despite the remarkable technical flair in Scorsese's meticulously crafted fight scenes, Raging Bull is not a boxing film. Rather, it's a film about failure. It's about how imperfect people ruin the good things they have in life, their successes, their relationships, their reputation, and their dignity. For a film so concerned with violence, both physical and emotional, Raging Bull opens with stark beauty. A stirring string section plays while LaMotta shifts and moves in slow motion, framed through the boxing ring's 3 ropes, displaying an effortless grace we'll never see from him again. It's the opening of a ballet, really, gentle, poetic, and beautiful. Yet the beauty also tells us something important. Here, as a major bout is about to begin, LaMotta is alone. He's in an arena full of cheering fans, and he's utterly alone. No other human beings are visible. The crowd is obscured in darkness. We know they're there only thanks to the occasional pop of flashbulbs. There are no trainers with him, no ringside assistants, no announcers or referees or even opponents. It's just LaMotta relishing a moment of isolated greatness. This repeats throughout the film, though he's never as great as he is in that opening shot. LaMotta is at his proudest, his most self-assured, and his most confident, either when he's alone, usually delivering a stumbling monologue to a mirror, or when he's violently pummeling an opponent. The rest of the time he's a brutish oaf, awkward around people, lacking social graces, sexist even by the era's standards, insecure and paranoid. After one fight, Jake laments to his brother and manager, Joey, that his hands are too small. Because of his small hands, he can never be a heavyweight. He'll never have a chance to fight the best. He presses Joey into punching him, repeatedly, to show that he can take the punishment. Joey does, but doesn't understand why his brother wants him to do this.
What are you trying to prove? What does it prove?
Jake LaMotta doesn't respond, but the answer becomes apparent. This is a man who refuses to give up. The only thing he knows is how to take and deliver a beating. This is underscored most heavily during his final bout against Robinson. Here, LaMotta is in a bad position. He's against the ropes and reeling. The action pauses, the crowd fading into the background. The Bronx Bull knows the fight is lost, but he has something to prove. The camera lingers on Robinson. The sound drops out except for soft breathing. Shadows envelop the screen. Then the sound roars back. Robinson attacks, and LaMotta is given as brutal a beating as is seen in the film. Blood splatters, it runs down his leg. LaMotta's second wife Vicky turns her head down in dismay. Robinson wins, and LaMotta's face is left a puffy, swollen mess of blood and flesh. Yet he never goes down. After the bell, he wobbles over to his opponent's corner and lets him know.
You never got me down, Ray. You hear me? Never got me down. Yeah? See? Look.
It's difficult to know if we're supposed to be impressed or disgusted. When we see this, we better understand the bloated fat LaMotta that we see later in the film, lurching around like a drunken king in his club, holding court from the stage. From a distance, we're embarrassed for him. The whole act is sad and pathetic, flailing of a man who fails to see that he's washed up, still trying at fame despite the one thing he has to offer the world, his skill in the ring, being well behind him. But look again and we see who he really is, a man who doesn't realize when he's beaten. Yet this tenacious aspect of LaMotta isn't his defining trait. Paranoia is, more so than violence, his one main defining characteristic. Paranoia and insecurity runs rampant throughout the film, and Scorsese's work underscores this whenever possible. This is never more evident than his relationship with Vicky, his second wife and the one opponent Jake cannot master. Vicky is young, just 15 when they meet, an uncomfortable fact that Scorsese does not dwell on, but she has an air of confidence about her that suggests she's in command of her life. They meet at a public swimming pool after Jake asks Joey to introduce them. Their initial conversation is gentle and awkward, largely improvised by De Niro and Kathy Moriarty. Vicky shot through a wire fence between them that serves as a metaphor for their relationship. They can touch, they connect, but there will always be something between them. The wire mesh of the fence, not unlike the ropes of the boxing ring, except here Jake is on the outside the ring, and Vicky is on the inside. On their first date together, LaMotta is softly controlling, gentle, but offering a hint of what is to come. He demands she sit closer to him so he can put his arm around her. She's compliant, though one senses that it's not due to weakness on her part. At his apartment, they sit across the tiny kitchen table from one another, but he insists she sit closer. He draws her to his lap, and again she gives in. His first kisses are awkward. There's no sensuality to them. They're almost the kisses of a child. Intimacy is not something LaMotta knows or understands, but somehow he makes an impression on her and they become a couple. Jake's obsession with her comes to a head in one of the film's most memorable scenes. Jake and Joey are in Jake's home. Vicky arrives, says hello, gives them each a kiss. He notes that she kissed his brother on the lips. He confronts Joey about it, first gently, but the conversation escalates until Jake flat out asks Joey if he slept with Vicky. Joey thinks Jake has gone insane and tells him so in a monologue improvised by Pesci.
Did you or did you not?
I'm not gonna answer. It's a sick question. You're a sick fuck, and I'm not that sick that I'm gonna answer it. I'm not telling you anything. I'm gonna leave. If Lenore calls, tell her I went home. I'm not staying in this nut house with you. You're a sick bastard. I feel sorry for you. I really do. You know what you should do? Try a little more fucking, a little less eating. You won't have troubles upstairs in your bedroom, and you won't pick it out on me and everybody else. You understand, you fucking wacko? You're cracking up. Fucking screwball, you.
Jake confronts Vicky, smashes down the bathroom door, smacking her. She screams at him, telling him yes, she slept with Joey. She slept with everyone. He believes her. We have no idea if this is true. It's probably not. She's probably just winding him up. The truth of it doesn't matter, though. Jake storms out and heads to Joey's house, where he pummels his brother and knocks Vicky out cold when she tries to intervene. It's Jake's darkest moment, the culmination of all the brooding and violence and paranoia we've already seen from him. When we next see him, he's an embarrassment, slobbering over a politician's wife, kissing young girls, and entertaining fellow drunks with cheap party tricks, a scene made all the more sobering by De Niro's now legendary decision to gain 60 pounds to play the older LaMotta. Jake LaMotta was a champion for a short period of time, a man of great skill whose downfall was his own doing. He is the definitive Scorsese protagonist in this respect, a deeply flawed person who becomes the engine of his own destruction. It's a theme we'll see many more times throughout the director's career, but never so starkly as in Raging Bull. If you enjoyed this and would like an even deeper look into Raging Bull as well as Martin Scorsese's other films, take a look at my book, The Films of Martin Scorsese, Gangsters, Greed, and Guilt. In it you'll find a deep examination of every motion picture Scorsese ever directed, from his very first, Who's That Knocking at My Door, to his most recent, The Irishman. It's available now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, as well as in fine bookstores everywhere, and your local library. If your bookstore doesn't carry it, ask them to.